Hi, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Carrie Young, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak tonight. I want to focus my testimony on what I truly feel is the most radical and extreme attack on not just unborn children, but also women that our state has seen in decades, and that is House Bill 5343. Not only, as it has been pointed out, does this bill repeal and prohibit state restrictions on public funding for abortion, not only does it prohibit the state from banning any method of abortion, which includes partial birth abortion, which, for those of you who don't realize this, is the barbaric practice where the full-term baby is partially delivered and then stabbed in the back of the neck. And not only does it outrageously leave the determination of quote-unquote fetal viability to the abortionist, the one who stands to make a substantial amount of money from killing the unborn child, but this bill also seeks to remove informed consent, the informed consent area of Rhode Island law, which would result in even less Rhode Island women receiving the information that they need before making such a life-altering and for the baby, life-ending decision. And that would also include even less women seeing ultrasounds, which, that is the way that they can really, really view the unmistakable humanity of their unborn child. When you see the baby's arms and legs, they're sucking their thumb, they're swimming around in the amniotic fluid, it's just, there is no mistaking the fact that this is a baby. And until they see that, and this baby is out so peaceful there until they are viciously attacked. They're in there safe in their mother's womb until they are viciously attacked by the abortion. And I am here tonight to stand not only for those babies, but also for the many who are future Rhode Island citizens, by the way, but also for the many women who are harmed every day, who are victimized and heavily affected by abortion, not just in Rhode Island, but across the country. When a bill like 5343, House Bill 5343, opens the floodgates to even more abortion by taking away restrictions on abortion, it also opens the floodgates to the many devastating effects that are caused, abortion can cause on a woman's health. And these include some of the following. There have been 57 epidemiological studies showing that induced abortion raises a woman's risk of breast cancer by 40%. And 33 of those studies show actual causation. That is very statistically significant. That's not something that you can just push away by saying, oh, well, there's a correlation. No, 33 show causation. Abortion can cause uterine laceration, hemorrhaging, placenta previa. It can cause infertility, and it also can cause future premature birth, because what happens when you have to go in and in an untimely way dilate the cervix by cranking it open, the cervix becomes compromised, and then when you have a pregnancy later, the weight of the baby weighing down on your cervix can cause future premature birth. Also, there's a very high rate of depression and even suicide in women who have had abortions. And this bill would make it even easier for Rhode Island women to make a choice that they might regret for the rest of their life, and which can have devastating effects on their health, as well as obviously the unborn baby's demise. I wanted to briefly go into, I know that there was an abortionist earlier and some others who had suggested that the baby does not feel pain. And she even had said something about ACOG having stated that. The ACOG, for those of you who don't know, is the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, which is an extremely politicized group that that gives donations to pro-abortion politicians, and they're a group that has a definite pro-abortion political agenda. I want to read to you some of the evidence that shows otherwise. Dr. I apologize, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing this correctly, but Dr. Kanwaljit Anand was requested by the U.S. Department of Justice to do a study on fetal pain, and he is a highly trained specialist on the development of unborn children. He concluded that after 20 weeks, the unborn baby can feel pain. Nebraska actually passed in April 2010 the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, banning all abortions after 20 weeks, based on studies that babies assuredly feel pain at that point, which is obvious because you know that when you have a circulatory system, when you have a nervous system, you feel pain. I mean, it would defy common sense for them not to feel pain. Dr. Tom Grissom, a Washington School of Medicine clinical instructor in pain medicine, testified that specialized nerve endings involved in pain transmission are seen as early as 7 weeks, so that's even earlier than the 20, and are found throughout all organs by 20 weeks gestation. And he further said, this means that all the elements for the perception of pain are present by 20 weeks gestation. And as I said earlier, probably by 7 weeks, or at least some of them were in place by 7 weeks. The abortionist who spoke earlier also claimed that only 1% of women regret their abortion, and we know that this is just false. I urge you to check out the website. It's abort73.com to see women posting their stories of regret, or to watch the annual March for Life in Washington, D.C., where annually 500,000 people from across the country, it was 600,000 a couple years ago, come to march in Washington. The media doesn't give us anywhere near the same amount of coverage, of course, as those, women's march and that type of thing. But part of this, and the last leg of it, where you go down the street that the Supreme Court signed, it's lined with thousands of women holding up signs that say, I regret my abortion. And women, men as well, that say, holding signs that say, I regret lost fatherhood. I have a friend personally, Alveda King, who's the niece of Martin Luther King Jr., and she's a wonderful civil rights leader in her own right and a great pro-life speaker who travels around the country. She had 2 abortions when she was younger. She, like many people, made that mistake and then realized later what was robbed from her and the mistake that she made. She didn't, and I would urge anybody watching this on TV or listening to this, if you are someone who's had an abortion, that does not mean that you have to be a pro-abortion for the rest of your life. I mean, it's something that you can heal from. It's a mistake that you can help others not to do. And she's a great example, Alveda is, and others that have, many others. I have friends who have had abortions and who now, help women in coming to terms with what happened, with what they were. Ultimately, they were victims because a lot of people think that they're making the decision to do this and don't realize that in part they have been brainwashed by a culture that really has promoted. They want you the baby to seem not human. They want to say blob of tissue. This is abortion care, women's reproductive care. These are all, euphemisms to just try to mask the humanity of the unborn baby. People have been bringing up how doctors are supposed to do no harm, and how you take a Hippocratic oath. Well, what could be more harmful than death? I mean, these babies are killed. They're alive before the abortion. They're dead after. On top of that, I've listed just some of the many devastating health effects to the mother as well. So this, if there anything could, besides this is a direct and obvious violation of the Hippocratic Oath. And the further use of, in kind of justifying this by calling the baby fetus, these types of things. Do you realize that fetus just means little one in Latin? It doesn't mean not human. It means a little person. It means this is a little one in Latin. People have brought up, and I'm sorry, I'm just kind of going through, I've been taking notes on just what people said because I feel that's not right, and I want to, people have been talking about the many illegal abortions that supposedly happened before Roe v. Wade. Well, I don't know if you guys have heard of Bernard Nathanson. He was the founder of NARAL, and he was an abortionist who did 35,000 abortions. He later became pro-life and did the film Silent Scream, where he actually shows an actual abortion happening. And the poor baby, realizing what's happening and the instrument coming in to kill them, tries to get away desperately in the room. He has nowhere to go. And then he watches the baby fall apart. And when he saw this, he really realized, he thought, what am I doing? And became pro-life. He had been brainwashed. I mean, he didn't really understand what he was doing. Well, he said that when they were trying to get Roe v. Wade passed and all of this was going forward, they were all working together, Sarah Weddington, the lawyer, they got Norma McCorvey, who recently passed away, involved, deceiving her into thinking it was something that would only apply to Texas. She never had an abortion, getting her involved. There was so much deception involved in getting Roe v. Wade passed. And part of it was, Bernard Nathanson admitted, what I did was we just made up the numbers. We said this is how many women are dying from abortion, and it was nowhere near that amount. He said, let's just go with 10,000. He said, we all just said, okay, well, we're trying to get this done. We're trying to get Roe v. Wade passed, and it's for the good. It doesn't matter if we lie. And he admitted that later. You can even read his autobiography. The abortion really is horrible. It's not care. It's not women's reproductive care. Arthur Tervasi had come up earlier and described the horrible process of dismemberment abortion. Well, that's not the only horrible, and it is. It's only one of the horrific things. It's all horrific. There's another one called the saline abortion, where the baby actually is forced to swallow saline solution, where they then are burned to death from inside out. This is what abortion is. This is the reality. It's not care, it's not, oh, you know, a woman's choice. No, it is the killing of an innocent person. Someone had brought up Tim Kaine's, you know, he's personally against abortion, but he doesn't want to, you know, other people can do what they want to do. Well, what if we said that about other horrible crimes in our history? What if we said, what if someone said, well, I'm personally opposed to slavery, but I think my neighbors should be able to have a slave if they want it, you know, if they want to. But, you know, what do I have to do with that? That doesn't have anything to do with me. I mean, that you can recognize the ridiculousness of that, because some things, like slavery and like abortion, are just so abhorrently wrong that they should be made illegal. And that's, in my opinion, should be illegal, but they certainly shouldn't be expanded. There certainly shouldn't be less restrictions on them. I'm almost done. I'm wrapping up. I'm sorry. Thank you, Chair.
Take a couple seconds and collect your thoughts. And
okay.
We've got a lot of people here. We know you feel very passionate about it.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. I do. I guess I pretty much covered everything. I just want to say that, you know, think about where we've come as a society to compare the killing of a baby who is obviously a unique person. They're often a different sex than the mother. That should be our first clue. Secondly, they have, you know, a different blood type many times. They have their own set of DNA. They have their own legs, their own arms, their own head, not the mother's arms. They're not a growth. They're a distinct human being. And to compare killing that baby to getting wisdom teeth taken out or to getting a colonoscopy really speaks to the level of spiritual blindness and honestly a lack of common sense that our society has been afflicted with. I would like people to just wake up and realize, and I want to try to have you, if you've had an abortion or you know someone who's had an abortion and you feel that you have to be committed to that because it's something that you've done in your past, let go of that. Don't do that. You can heal from this and you can reach out to others and help this. Even if you don't realize that you might have regret, you will feel it later because common sense just shows you this is a person, that this is your child. And I'm not saying, I mean, people make all sorts of mistakes that they have to deal with. This is not the only sin out there, but I mean, you know, you don't have to perpetuate it by making it seem like it's okay. And you know, God bless everybody. You know, people who are pro-life do not hate people who have had abortions. In fact, we want you to come to our side. You're so welcome. And look at the people like Bernard Nathanson, who became some of the best pro-life advocates out there, or Abby Johnson, the former director of Planned Parenthood, who wrote the book Unplanned, who talks about how Planned Parenthood really told her, you got to get your abortion numbers up in your clinic, or, you know, she exposes what really went on there. She had also an abortion herself, or Alveda King, and think, you know, you don't have to be committed to this pro-abortion stance. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.